Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. I'm Ted, and today I'm joined by
Next Dave.
And today we get to the point with the 3 best spear fighter options. Drop down the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy, the newsletter. It's a great way to get gaming tips as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
So Jesper Noor had asked us to create a spear wielder build, character build, modeled after Prince Orion from Game of Thrones fighting style, much like we did with some of our other videos.
Right.
The knife thrower we did was really good. I thought it was a good video, and a lot of people really enjoyed it, but we did make some mistakes.
Right.
So we went and we looked at the books this time. God damn it! So hopefully, I'm sure if we mess anything up, you guys will let us know. But the interesting thing about creating a spear wielding character is you have a lot of different directions you can go in.
That's right. There's a number of different ways that you can start, and I think if you're going to do it, you have to figure out where you're going to go, because it's going to make a determination on all your different choices, because you have a number of fighting styles to choose from, a number of things that look and act like spears to choose from, and depending upon which ones you go with, one is going to dictate the others.
First off, let's look at we're using everything because it's our show. We get to do what we want. Now we're using everything we have access, including Unearthed Arcana. So we have to start with the spear wielding feat, I think.
Right. So that's going to be in the Unearthed Arcana feats. And on page 3, there is the feat Spearmaster. So the spear is a simple weapon to learn. It rewards you for the time you've taken to master it. You gain the following benefits. You get a +1 bonus to attack rolls made with a spear. When you use a spear, its damage die increases from D6 to D8, from a D8 to a D10 when wielded with 2 hands. This benefit has no effect if another feature was already improved the weapon's die. So that's for the base part of the spear. So if you're using any of the other spear-like things, it's not going to wind up fitting here. When you set your spear to receive a charge as a bonus action, choose a creature you can see that is at least 20 feet away. If that creature moves towards you with your spear's reach on its next turn, you can make a melee attack against it with your spear. As a reaction, if the attack hits, the target takes an extra D8 piercing or an extra D10 piercing damage if you wield a spear with 2 hands. You can't use this ability if the creature uses a disengage action before moving. As a bonus action on your turn, you can increase your reach with a spear by 5 feet for the rest of your turn.
There's some really cool things you can do with it. A lot of that is based off of using the spear however you want. It increases the damage of the spear, makes it a much better option for a fighter character because it is a simple weapon.
Yes.
It's not a martial weapon. But historically, spear was one of the weapons that was introduced that really changed the nature of mass combat, especially when you get into long spear and pike, which is very spear-like.
Yes.
You ever used to break charges.
There's a reason why the spear wall was a huge thing, because you could have ranks of people all holding a spear, and it would just decimate the opponent's lines. If you look at spear in the book, it is a simple weapon. It does a D6 piercing, D8 if you're using it two-handed. This would bump that up to a D8 one-handed, D10 two-handed, which would put it in line with the glaive, the pike, and the halberd. That's it. Which all of them do a D10 and they're two-handed.
Oh, also, going off of Prince Orion from Game of Thrones, or at least the HBO show anyway, that wasn't just a regular spear. That would be probably a long spear.
Yes.
He had extended reach with that weapon.
So when we look at the different options for once you get into fighting styles, you have to make the determination of whether you want to go with a regular spear and go the Spearmaster route, which is going to give you that D10 if you're using it two-handed, but it's going to be versatile, so you can bop it down to one hand whenever you need to. But some of the fighting styles and features are not going to work for you if you don't go with, say, the pike or the glaive, because it needs to have the heavy property.
Right, because we're actually talking about not only spear, but spear-like weapons, and also there's not a long spear in this edition.
Correct.
So we're like, well, kind of like a glaive or a pike is like a long spear, or a broad-headed spear. So there might be some room for interpretation. If you go into the Middle Earth book, there is a great spear, which actually is a weapon with a heavy property.
So if you've like us, gotten the Middle Earth guide or player's guide, page 151, has new weapon options, and one of those is the Great Spear. It does 1d12 slashing. It is a heavy reach and two-handed weapon.
And that would actually probably be a little bit too good to use with the Spearmaster feat, like allowing the damage die to be bumped up.
Well, the Spearmaster feat isn't it ups the damage die of any spear-like weapon. It specifically says the simple weapon spear.
Okay, so it would apply, yeah.
So it's not going to bump up your pike and your glaive from a D10 to something else, because the D10 is already the cap for what this feat does. Some DMs might let you say, well, okay, if I take Spearmaster, can I get the ability to set it against a charge and be able to use as a bonus action to be able to bump up my reach? Some DMs might allow that, but as it's written, it's specifically designed for the spear.
Fair enough.
When we actually look at the fighting styles, there's some that are in the SCAG as well as in the Player's Handbook, and pretty much everything but the archery fighting style
Can apply.
Can apply to the spear or spear-like things.
And there's actually some of you might be like, well, two weapon fighting, I don't know, but historically it's been done. Trident and that. I mean, Trident's not a spear, but close enough. But that being said, there's stories and recounts of Vikings and Scandinavian warriors wielding two spears, one in each hand, and throwing them that way, and also catching the enemy spears and throwing them back.
Yes.
In either hand. So there's definitely precedent for that. So even the two weapon fighting style works. Dual weapon wielding would work. It seems a little weird, but maybe spear and some other weapon would feel better.
So when we look at the fighting styles under the Player's Handbook, we've ruled out archery. Defense is going to give you a +1 to armor class. It's not giving you a whole lot of other options, but you could use it. Dueling +2 to damage if you're only using that one weapon. Not a problem. Great weapon fighting allows you to reroll, the low damage. Protection gets you to help other people, and two weapon fighting. I would think dueling would be my go-to on this one. What is your...
Yeah, so the question is, are we just going to build a spear wielder, or are we going to literally try and recreate O'Brien? So what I'm thinking is, how about we just build some spear wielders, and maybe we'll D&Di's O'Brien later, or Prince O'Brien later on, and we can discuss his fighting style.
Sure.
What are we trying to get out of this? So if you go with spear mastery, you go duelist. So right there, the bottom end of your damage is coming up. The top end of your damage, you're just all around medium damage is coming up.
Right. You're gonna drop it or bump it from, if you use it in one hand, to a D8, two hands to a D10, making it comparable to most of the other weapons in the game. The only thing that's better damage wise, is your greatsword doing a 2d6.
Right.
And your
great axe is better
doing a D12.
Yes.
So,
but you're also getting the bumped armor. But you're gonna have the armor class because you're using a shield.
So you're looking at the dueling fighting style.
Yes.
Okay. So that's going to give you the +2 to damage rolls with that weapon. Doing that. All right. You're wielding a spear, doing longsword damage, and then a little extra. Not bad. Obviously, we're looking at fighting styles. So are we looking at fighter? Are we looking at ranger? Are we looking at paladin?
I would probably go fighter, but so this is actually one of those builds that can benefit from multiple fighting styles if you wanted to do it.
Correct.
Whether you want more versatility in how you fight, or you just want to be better all around. For instance, like if you decide to go, okay, well, I'm going to mix it with 2 levels of paladin to get another fighting style, and you wanted to take defensive for another increase in your armor class, and you're literally an armored. You're going armored knight fighting with a spear. You're gonna slather on the armor. Later on, you might want to take feats like savage attack, or possibly 2 weapon. No, you have to use 2 hands. Yeah, you don't have to use 2 hands. Just a melee weapon, right? For 2 weapon master,
right?
Or 2-handed weapon master. But you don't get the second benefit.
Oh, great weapon master.
Yeah, so great weapon master is also potential. With that one, you only get half the benefits.
Right.
So you have to decide if it's worth it or not. Basically, you can expend your bonus action when you get a crit or drop someone to get an extra attack.
Right.
Now that feat, one of the things I don't like about that feat is the fact that you have to use a bonus action to do it.
And we house rule that it doesn't actually cost your action. You just can only do it once.
All right, so go human for this build.
Human to get the initial feat.
We start off with Spearmaster, and you start off as a fighter. That's a +1 to hit and +2 to damage.
Yes.
That's kind of a big deal in 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, it's like you're specialized.
Yeah, almost like that. You could go 3 levels for Battlemaster.
So you'd want to go Battlemaster on this one?
I think so. I think you're going to bet anything where you're dependent on the fighting style. I feel like Battlemaster is kind of like the best way to go. I mean, granted, Champion does give you another fighting style, but not until like 10th level.
True.
This is actually a build where you could use them, like, because if we're going, all right, we're going Armored Knight fights with a spear, 2 levels of Paladin, just so you can grab another
fighting
style, which you would use to up your armor class by. I would probably use the up armor class by 1, unless I wanted to go. Or protection. Is that what it's called?
Protection, yeah. Yeah.
And I have a specific reason for like thinking that as well, because Shield Master would be another great feat for this character. If you're fighting, if you're building a spear wielder that fights, shield and spear. Shield Master is an awesome feat because, one, it allows you to use your bonus attack to create a push. You also get your shield bonus to your dex. I mean, not to your dexterity saving throw, which is also going to be important, especially for a character slathering on armor, because they're probably not going to have
the high dex.
It might even be a dumb stat. So that would kind of like offset that. And there's like one other benefit that you get from it as well.
You can use a bonus action to shove a creature 5 feet. If you aren't incapacitated, you add your shield's AC to dexterity saving throws. If you're subject to an effect that allows you to make a dexterity saving throw, you only take half damage. You can use your reaction to take no damage if you succeed on the saving throw, interposing your shield between yourself and the source of the effect.
So that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
And you could technically take that fairly low level. You're a fighter. You're gonna have some feats to play with.
You get 1 at 4. You get 1 at 6.
Yeah.
So that's pretty easy now. If you're going early on those extra paladin levels, that's going to bump up to essentially 6 and 8 respectively, overall level.
Right. Or you can always just skip the paladin and go straight Battlemaster. I believe isn't there a Battlemaster superiority die that you can spend to get reach?
Lunging attack.
Yes, and in addition to that, you're already getting reach from using the Spearmaster.
Yes.
So
you can use your bonus action to give you 5 extra feet and a superiority die, bumping it out to 10 feet. I don't know what you're doing to get all of that combined. I've toyed around with spear, and I've seen some decent reach, but there's only so much you can move, and there's only so much spear itself. Hey, we're looking at mechanics here.
Spear stretcher. You just need a spear stretcher. It's not a problem at all. And it also will give you the extra damage. So it's like that I feel like is one spear build. Another one is where you fight spear and another weapon. Which again, you could go ranger on that one. You could go fighter on that one. They both work. They both give you dual weapon.
The thing with the spear is if you're going to go ranger, I'd want to go with the 2 weapon, and I'd want to have essentially like a quarrel. And you could come out there with one spear kind of overhand and one kind of under, and you'd have the ability to be attacking and throwing you could do either at a moment's notice, and you've got the backups to be able to just pull out another one whenever you need it. And again, you'd be able to get all the benefits of Spearmaster with it. So it falls into the versatile, and if you wind up going with the 2 weapon fighting build, you can wind up being able to get your modifier on both attacks.
Yes, and then eventually, obviously, you would want to take dual weapon wielder.
Yes.
So to bump your armor class, well, you actually need to take dual weapon wielder. You actually need to take it first in order to wield 2 spears. Otherwise, you're stuck with doing. It needs to be light or finesse.
You're right.
But dual weapon wielder, you can now do both. So you just have to reverse the order. You take dual weapon wielder, first level.
Then you take Spearmaster at 4.
You take Spearmaster at 4. You know, and so you're going to get more attacks. If you're now we're talking about going to Ranger build, so you're going to be able to use Hunter's Mark. You know, you're going to want to use the Hunter build, so you can get Colossal Slayer.
Yep.
So you can stack on some extra damage.
All right. So, but those are the things that you're going to want to have to grab if you're going to go that route. But I do like the option of having that character that has the ability that their primary weapon is both thrown and melee at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, like this character, there's some other things you might want to take into consideration. I believe sharpshooter, right? You won't receive the damage, the bonus damage. You won't be able to do that, but getting rid of the disadvantage at long range is important because what's the range on a spear?
60. That's long range.
And what's short range?
20.
Right, so it's a huge difference in your range, so that's definitely worth it. And then also ignoring cover is also
that's majorly beneficial.
That's also another great thing. The dual wielder, it's just a totally different track, and that's like one of the fun things about creating the spear wielding character because you have so many different directions you can go in. You're not limited like a sword. There's only so many ways you can use the sword. I think
I agree.
Mechanically,
and to go with the point that the spear is versatile, pun intended, in that it has the ability to be a melee weapon, be a ranged weapon, but it's also a tool. You know, you can use it to hunt, you can use it for a variety of different things, whereas they say...
Personally, I like to hunt with a longsword, but yeah, I guess. So the last option for a spear wielder would be, this one you kind of have to cheat a little. So there's a couple things. One, you can allow the pike or the glaive, or you can go into the Middle Earth book for a great spear. And this is going to be this one is going to be the heavy weapon master, great weapon fighter.
So obviously, you know, this is another one where you're going to go fighter. You can dip into paladin for the extra bits, but you're going to take the great weapon fighting style. You're going to take the great weapon master feat,
savage attacker, because when you're rolling the big dice and more dice, you benefit greatly from that as well. I don't think you're really going to take a dip with this one. I think you're either just going to go paladin or fighter.
Okay. So yeah, savage attacker is just the one that lets you to re-roll the dice. The great weapon master was, since you're going to going heavy, you will have the ability to have the weapon sack out the -5 to attack to get the +10 to damage, as well as the ability that when you score a critical hit or kill it, you can make an attack on somebody else.
On this one, we're probably not going to use the Spearmaster feat.
Right, because again, unless you have a very generous DM allowing you to take the secondary features of the Spearmaster to apply it to your glaive, your halberd, your pike, or your great spear.
An addendum to the other two builds, though, Sentinel might stack nicely with those.
Ooh, yeah.
Well, you know, if you use your bonus action to get the extra reach, if you set for a charge, that kind of stuff. Because you set for a charge and you use Sentinel, not only do you get the attack, but you stop the charge.
Yes, anytime you're actually doing anything that's going to involve reach, Sentinel is a fantastic add, because if they have nothing but melee options and you stop them before they can get to you, if you've got the ability to do a fighting retreat, they're never going to get to you.
Does Polar Master apply to glaive and pike?
You gain the following benefits. When you take an attack with only a glaive, halberd, or quarterstaff, doesn't affect pike. You can use a bonus action to make a melee attack with the opposite end of this weapon. While wielding a glaive, halberd, pike, or quarterstaff, the other creatures provoke an attack of opportunity from you when they enter the reach you have with that weapon. Does pike get
shafted?
Pun intended.
Pun intended. So that would be another one. If we're going to the altar build, you're allowing glaive. Maybe your DM would let that apply to great spear, because I feel like a great spear and a glaive are pretty close in as far as weapons go.
Right.
So, and again, obviously, if we're talking about reach and using that to your advantage, then you want to use Sentinel as well.
Correct.
there's 3 different ways to build a spear character, and they all fight differently.
Right.
And it'd be a unique fighting style in your party. So you can have a lot of fun with it. It's going to take some time to build up to it, and as you go, you're going to get more versatility, and you're going to be able to stack on more damage and just do cool things in combat, other than roll the d20. What do you guys think? How would you build a spear wielder in your game? Did we leave anything out? Let us know in the comments below. While you're at it, like, share, and subscribe.
Don't forget to check out all the awesome stuff over on nerdarchy.com.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.